Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the First Friday Entrepreneurship Call with K-State Research and Extension. Our mutual goal with this call is to engage the wisdom, knowledge, and relationships of local communities with the research and the teaching of the university to create vital communities. And the purpose of these calls is to increase the local community's knowledge about the experts, the education, and the economic resources available to help small businesses and entrepreneurs. So we are recording this call for future reference, and
you are unmuted.
See that? Let's see, we've got some feedback going on. You can see that on our website, and that's in your chat box. Our guest today is Trish Brasted, the CEO of the Wichita Technology Corporation. And she's going to tell us about Angel Investing 101. Trish, thank you for being here.
Good morning, and thanks for giving me some time to talk to everybody this morning. I really appreciate it. For those of you who know me know that angel investing and talking about why it matters to our entrepreneurial ecosystem is one of my favorite topics. And I'm a lifelong Kansan. I've been working for the last 25 years statewide supporting entrepreneurial activity and really just trying to get as many people engaged and have as many discussions about access to capital, because it's a critical component of supporting entrepreneurs in our area. So today, our agenda, 5 things really. I want to do a little bit about understanding the angel industry. It's grown exponentially over the last 10 years, give you a little more comfort when people are talking about it, that you'll understand it a little more. The importance of angels and the role they play in each of our ecosystems, because they play a role in every community, everywhere. And a refresher on angel investing in Kansas. We're very lucky. We have some great programs. Give you a few available resources, and then open it up for questions. And I'm open to questions as we go along. If I say something that you don't understand or you have a question about, feel free to jump in. I think Nancy will help monitor that. So the first big question is, what are angel investors? We don't have a halo, we don't have wings. Sometimes angel investors seem to be mysterious to people, which is why I like to talk about it. You know, angel investors are people just like you and I. I'm an angel investor. There are some unique and common personality and characteristics about angel investors, but they're people just like you and I. Most of them are current or former entrepreneurs themselves. They like to give their time and resources to help other entrepreneurs. If you've ever invested in a startup, you get the distinction of being called an angel. And the word angel goes back centuries, when people in the early days were just providing resources to others to succeed in progressing in their economy and their lives. Angels also, as investors, not only give their money, but their time and their expertise. A lot of times the value that they add with their contacts and their expertise, a lot of times is even more valuable than the dollars that they bring to the table. A couple definitions, I think, that are used a lot that I think is important for people who are just learning about the industry to understand is the notion of an accredited investor versus a non-accredited investor. And really that's just a designation by the Securities and Exchange Commission to identify people who they've deemed have the wherewithal and don't require as much knowledge or care when it comes to angel investing. And really it's about net worth. And angel investing, like most financial types of investing, is highly regulated. So they want to make a distinction and protect those folks who maybe don't have the experience or the money to invest with certain rules and regulations. So accredited investors, typically the easiest way to define them is somebody that has a net worth of $1 million or more, or has individual income on an annual basis, either individually or jointly, of 200 or 300 on a joint basis. Non-accredited investors are really everybody else. What we found in the last probably 5 or 6 years is we have a lot of non-accredited investors getting into the angel investment scene, which is really, it's a good thing, because there's a time and a place for everyone to do this. And the more people we have engaged in it and the more knowledge they have about it, then the more successful we think they're going to be. Along with this proliferation, can't even hardly say it, the proliferation of angels themselves and the numbers of angels in the U.S. come the same growth in angel groups. And so why do angels kind of flock in groups? It's the same type of thing. The reason we do other things in groups is, the more we meet and have knowledge and share and leverage expertise, the better off we are and the more successful we're going to be. So angels in groups meet regularly, they screen opportunities, they watch pitches from entrepreneurs, and they meet regularly with entrepreneurs. Because they have each of us has a broad range of expertise, and we each have our own expertise to bring to the table, it enables us as individual investors to feel more comfortable investing in a diverse set of industry verticals. We work together to conduct due diligence. We often pool our money into one transaction. That saves time, transaction costs. It provides our entrepreneurs the ability to manage their cap table a little easier. Groups across the country are formed and are administered in different ways. About half and half. Half the groups or so have paid administration, so they actually have a business around the group itself, and others are volunteer driven. The angel group count, last I read through one of the associations, it was over 600 in the US, and that's just documented groups. They think that undocumented groups could be just as many. So the exponential growth that we've seen in individual people and then banding together to support entrepreneurship over the last 10 years is significant. And it's important to understand that, because it's something that every community, we all have people who have the ability to invest, and then figuring out ways to engage those people with our entrepreneurs is extremely important. One of the other things I want to talk about, because this is a common thing that I'm asked, is what is the difference between an angel and a venture capitalist? And there is a big difference. They're both huge in the role that they play in our ecosystem and in our financing of new businesses. The distinct difference is really, there's 3 distinct differences. The funding source. Angels are investing their own money directly into the businesses and the entrepreneurs. VCs are investing money from other sources. They are typically general partners that are investing their limited partners funds, pension funds, foundation money, insurance money, those types of things. So you've got a group of people who are being paid to invest other people's money for the benefit of a return. Angels are investing their own money for the hopes that they're going to get a return on their money. So they're making individual decisions. So what that does is it really puts you in a different position when you're investing your own money versus investing someone else's money. And also the stage of the entrepreneur. Typically, it's not 100%, but typically angels are investing in seed and startups. It's smaller amounts of money in more companies. The venture capitalists tend to, because of the size of their funds that they're managing, these large pension funds and the insurance companies and the foundations and what, have to invest such a large amount of money that they're investing larger amounts of money in later stage companies. Again, that goes to the size of the investment. angel investments come in all shapes or sizes. So this is just typical. Typically, angels will write investment checks from anywhere from, in our group and in the Midwest, it's anywhere from 5 to 100,000 is the typical check that an individual person will write in a round of funding. An average group in any one investment opportunity will pool their money, and the Angel Capital Association says that it's about $350,000 is the average amount in any one deal. What you're going to see is later when I talk about some of what's happened in the Midwest and the growth of the angel groups, you'll see that if an entrepreneur is going to need to raise more than that, we need to leverage and syndicate and work with our investment partners. And we've got a great syndication group that I'll talk about later. Venture capitalists, because of the amount of money that they have to invest and the cost per transaction, they're typically investing $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, depending on the size of the fund. So very different with regards to the size of the investments per investment. So let's dig a little deeper on what a typical angel deal looks like, both from an individual and a group perspective. Our group typically participates in rounds of about $2 million or less. Again, we're going to be writing individual checks. We may in any one deal. Again, our group is very average when you look at the surveyed information around the country of about 350 or so. We do expect a high rate of growth and a return because angel investing is approached almost like a mutual fund type of investing. You are investing in a portfolio. It's very high risk. So the risk and reward relationship in any one deal, we really have to have an expected rate of return of 10x or higher, because out of 10 opportunities, if I build a portfolio of 10 investments, probably only one of those is going to give me that return. I think, 70 or 75, 80% of all businesses fail in the first 3 years. That's a high failure rate. So we have to take that into consideration when we're building our portfolio. So we do expect when we make these investments that each investment is going to give us a high return. And then we hope that we get one that's going to give us 10 or 15x. We'll get some that will pay our maybe 1 times our money back. And then the others, if we can get our principal, and the majority of them, we will not ever see a return. So it's important from an investment perspective to look at it from a portfolio approach. And in typical angel deals, one of the most important things and the thing that resonates with most individuals when they're making investment decisions is the entrepreneur themselves and that team, which is why later when we talk about what we can do as a community to step up our activity in this regard, getting those entrepreneurs out there, meeting the entrepreneurs, participating with them in their building of that business is important. And most angels really like to provide their expertise and share their wisdom with them. They may or may not have a product ready for market. I've been doing this for about 25 years. We kind of ebbs and flows with regards to whether or not most of the investments are coming in pre-product. A lot of times it is pre-revenue. We kind of in the last few years have returned to some of the more traditional bootstrapping models. And you can do that if you're trying to build a company that isn't capital intensive. And we've got entrepreneurs and we're trying to create it. In the Midwest, I think we're better at this. We can build companies for less than they can on the coast, which is an advantage to us. So bootstrapping, getting a minimum viable product up and running before you get your first investment. A lot of times, and I'm saying in the last few years, this is much more typical. To have a product that is at least somewhat ready and you've got some customer validation. And as investors, we prefer a 5 to 8 year exit window. That's one of those things that we always ask the entrepreneurs, have you thought about, even though what we want you focusing on is building a successful business, is how am I going to get my money back out? Because what we want to do is we want to get our money back out, make a return, and then hopefully deploy that money again in another entrepreneur. This chart here, I always like to share because it gives a good economic picture in my mind of the impact of angel investing and the difference between the deployment of capital between a venture capitalist and an angel investor. This first pyramid or triangle, in 2018, there was about $25 billion invested in startup companies across the US. That represented 75,000 deals. That's a lot of deals, and it's a lot of money. It's significant. There's significant net worth across the country looking for investment opportunities, and this just goes to show there's a lot of deals getting done. And you want to make sure that you have an opportunity in your community to be part of that. The second one shows the venture capital side of things. They have invested about $130 billion in 2018 in new and emerging companies, a little bit later stage from a development, growth, customer acquisition standpoint, but only 9,000 deals. So that tells you those deals are much bigger, much larger, because they have much more capital to deploy. So it's really good. Some of these numbers are the largest they've been. I think 2018, the largest they've been in some time. You know, we've had some good recovery since 2008. We had another dip, 13, 14, and now we're back to really lots of activity. And what that tells you is that there's lots of money sitting on the sidelines looking for places to be deployed. And that means in every community, there are people with money looking to be deployed somewhere. So why is this important? Now, this is a list that I'm sure everyone on this call who's involved in this type of stuff in their community could make a list twice this long. These are kind of the things that you would expect about why it's important. You know, new job creation. We're all about creating jobs in our community. You know, if you're going to create jobs, you got to have money. You got to help people get new businesses started. Succession strategy development is something that Kansas, along with a lot of other states, because of our aging population, we have a lot of aging business owners who are looking to figure out how are we going to get out of the business or provide succession and get either the employees or other folks involved so that we don't lose those businesses. So there's a ton of that work going on across our state. You know, area revitalization, just decreasing our talent drain. You know, we do a really good job of educating our kids at our colleges, and, you know, having access to capital and alternatives to leaving our state and doing something is important. And the ability just to engage the community in other entrepreneurial activity. All of this is incredibly important when you're building an entrepreneurial ecosystem. And I think when it comes to figuring out what do I do in my community to help activate this capital, it's really a lot easier, I think, sometimes than people realize. And, you know, what I've done this last couple of years really has just spent a lot of time going out and getting the discussion started. If people are comfortable with a topic, you know, then typically they're going to get engaged in it. You know, information and knowledge is extremely powerful. And if people are engaging in this, then it creates lots of opportunities. So connections, collisions, and more connections. If if you make sure that you're providing opportunities for entrepreneurs to be networking with people beyond their feet, talking about what they're doing. Sometimes I think, and especially in the Midwest, we have a tendency not to talk as much about the things that we're doing, or we try to be very careful because we're very humble. You know, I tell all my entrepreneurs, you need to be telling anyone who's going to listen and give you 5 minutes what you're up to, because you never know who the people that you're talking to, who they know, who might be in their network or their sphere of influence, or how they could help you. And telling those stories and getting them engaged also helps other entrepreneurs think about things that they might want to do to get to be innovative. I challenge a lot of communities, and most of the events or things that I host or go to, and I'm involved in lots of boards, and we're planning an event in May here in a couple of weeks. Add 10 or 15 minutes to any meeting you're having about anything, to let an entrepreneur come in the room, or someone who's got some ideas, and let them tell their story and talk about what they're doing. You can also spend 10 or 15 minutes on a specific topic around access to capital. There is so much information out there now that just giving people bits and pieces to get them interested in a topic does a lot for getting people engaged in the angel scene. So you never know who might be interested in supporting that entrepreneur until you're actually getting some informal conversations moving. Angel investing, and especially because I've worked across the state of Kansas for so many years, in each community is a little bit different. Some it's a little more formal, some it's very informal, but we do have it working, pretty much across the state. And we're very fortunate in that we have some really good programs. So just as a refresher, Network Kansas, which I'm sure most of the people on this call probably are very familiar with a lot of the fantastic programs that Network Kansas has. They have the Kansas Capital Multiplier Venture Program that I work with them on, and it is a matching program very similar to the Multiplier Loan Program, and it provides matching funds to entrepreneurs who are raising capital. They want to come in and help match funds so that you can get an entrepreneur needs, $500,000 to do something. They'll come in the end and match the private investors' money 9%. So it's a great program. We've invested in, 30 or so companies, and we're very excited about some of the exit opportunities we have, so we continue to replenish that program and continue to have it work for us. I spoke a little bit earlier about our Midwest Angel Syndicate. We have my angel group, the Midwest Venture Alliance. We've just recently decided, it was formed in about 2005, and we have invested in about 20 companies as well, about $35 million. We've kind of put a fence around that and decided that we need to start a new angel group. So we've invited the folks who are members of Midwest Venture Alliance to join our new group, which is called Accelerate Venture Partners. We see an opportunity to engage some new people in what we're doing. We belong to what's called the Midwest Angel Syndicate. It includes Tulsa and Oklahoma City. They have Seed Step Angels. Nebraska Angels, which are angels from Lincoln and Omaha, are participating in our syndicate. The Rocky Venture Club is a new participant in our syndicate, and they're out of Denver. We have a couple of Minneapolis funds. We have a female-focused fund called the Sophia Fund, and they invest primarily, Sophia is almost 100% female founder, C-suite companies. So, it's ran by a group of very successful female entrepreneurs who want to give back and support other female entrepreneurs, which is awesome. Women's Capital Connection out of Kansas City and Mid-America Angels out of Kansas City. are close by. They're great partners. Plains Angels out of Des Moines. So we have a really robust group of angels around our state, and I feel very fortunate in that we're kind of right in the middle of the Oklahoma. We sit right in the middle of all those groups. So the cross pollination is fantastic. The other thing that Kansas offers that is an advantage, especially when looking at Missouri and Nebraska, is we have the Kansas Angel Tax Credit Program. And I would encourage any of you, if you don't know about the Kansas Angel Tax Credit Program, to get some more information about it, because it's a fabulous program. It's $6 million in tax credits have been allocated annually. I think we started 2019, according to Rachel at Department of Commerce, who manages this program. She had some leftover from 2018, so started the year with about $8 million in tax credits. And this allows investors to get a 50% tax credit up to $100,000 investment. So if you make a $100,000 investment in a company that has been qualified by the Department of Commerce and Rochelle and her group, you can get a 50% tax credit. So that's a $50,000 tax credit on a $100,000 investment. It's a fantastic program. Rachel has been out around the state talking to people and talking to communities about it to get the word out. And it's been great. We had Rachel in Wichita a couple of weeks ago. It was fantastic. You register. The site for that is kansasangels.com. Your investors need to register on an annual basis. Companies make application. There's some restrictions. It's not for every company. There are some restrictions on there, but they make it very simple. It is very entrepreneurial friendly, and I encourage people to make sure you understand how it works, because you just never know when that can be a great tool for your entrepreneurs. In the information age that we're in now, I feel this list might be a little lame. This is like my favorite 5 go-to list for finding information about access to capital. The Angel Research Institute is an organization that's supported by the Kauffman Foundation. They put out what they call the Halo Report every year, and it has every known statistic you could ever want to know about the angel groups across the U.S., and they put out a tremendous amount of really, really good information. The Angel Capital Association also on their website has just reams and reams of research reports, everything you could ever want to know about angel investing. And it's very, very easy to read, very entrepreneur friendly. I send my entrepreneurs there quite often when they have questions around what it's like to raise angel capital, what valuations look like, what the expectations of the investors are. It's really, really good information. Founders Forward is a great resource that I love, that is actually for founders of companies, entrepreneurs who maybe stepping their toe the first time as trying to start a new company. It's very frank information, very good, very current information, and I like to go out and read the Founders Forward quite often. Seraph Compass is another one that is managed and written by angel investors, and so it's a great resource as well. And then I always tell everyone, you gotta know the kansasangels.com website, because that is a tremendous resource for all of us in the state. So I ran through a lot of information. I could talk forever and more in depth on any of this stuff, but I want to give everybody a chance to sort of take a breath, and let me take a breath and take a drink. And I'll answer any questions anybody has about any of this stuff.
Thank you, Trish. You're right. That was a lot of information, and really good information. So one thing I will point out is that Rachel will be our guest in August. so you can get a reiteration of specifically about the Kansas program of angel tax credits. So Rochelle, a lot of the people on the call are people who are in communities. They may know people who have the ability to invest or need investments. I heard your good advice about just opening up the conversation and allowing those entrepreneurs the opportunity to talk, so that people realize that that is an opportunity for them, is to be an investor. What's the first point of entry for somebody who needs an angel investment?
Well, I think the first point of entry really is the fortunate thing is there's lots of resources out there. So as an entrepreneur, we want to make sure they understand what the expectations of the investor are. And there's lots of those resources out there. And I have lots of entrepreneurs call me from all over the state that just want to have a conversation about, what do I do if I need to raise money? And, what does that look like? And how do you do that? And there's tons of resources out there to get that done. And then again, while it sounds simple, it really is. If you've got an entrepreneur in your community who you feel is ready for that, then it is just allowing them opportunities to share their vision about what they're trying to do. And you'd be surprised at how many people want to either give advice or have some sort of connection to that entrepreneur. Also, on the investor side, I encourage a lot of communities, a lot of times, and we've seen this a lot just in the last few years, there's a lot of people who would like to know more information about it or like to be engaged in the activity, but they, as an investor or potential investor, don't really know what it's about, don't know the questions to ask, don't feel comfortable asking that. So setting up a series of, hey, we're going to have some educational opportunities. We're going to spend, for example, at the end of our chamber meeting, we're going to spend 15 minutes and we're going to talk about what angel investing is and what it's like to be an angel, what the parameters are, and how it's going to benefit our community. The more discussions that we're having about it, the easier it is for people to go, maybe that is something that I'm interested in, and how do I get started in it? And again, because our angel groups, in almost every community, there's some sort of angel investing going on. And either someone at Mid-America, myself, Network Kansas, we can probably guide whoever has those questions to the right people to help them, or figure out who can maybe come to their community to help them get those conversations started. Hopefully that answered your question.
It did. Excellent. Anybody else? And I like your very concrete advice about doing it at the chamber meeting.
Sometimes people, you want to do it anywhere where you have a gathering of people who are in leadership roles in your community. That's one of the things when you think about Network Kansas and all of their e-community leadership teams. Even when you're having those types of discussions, doing some extra angel stuff, because a lot of that is around banking. And I'm here to tell you that even access to capital also includes the banks. And I don't want to leave them out of that discussion either, because sometimes having them engaged in the conversation is a good thing too. So anytime you've got a group of leaders around, find some creative ways to sneak some of these topics in just to get some dialogue going.
That's great advice. And I heard you say, and when I teach grant workshops, I tell people, and I need to be just as clear as you are, the more you talk about your idea, the more likely it is that somebody will have the connection or collision that you need to make some magic happen.
Yeah, it takes some magic. Mm-hmm. And so you're right. You never know.
So folks, what other questions do you have?
I really appreciate being given the opportunity just to have a discussion with people. I think this is all very important. So anything I can do, my contact information is on this slide. feel free to call me anytime.
Very good, Trish. That's a generous offer. And Trish's slides and this recording will be on our website, and by the end of the day, probably, or at least by Monday or Tuesday. So this is also the Rural Partners Call, and it's our hope that we'll really be intentional about sharing things that we're doing in our area and helping other people to know what's going on in our world. David Key says, for anyone interested, there will be a Northeast Kansas Innovators Seminar on Tuesday, June 4th at Sabetha, Kansas, featuring a presenter from the Mid-America Angel Investors.
Great.
So just to give you time to think of your announcements, I continue to teach grant workshops, and then there are two more this month. No, just one more this month in Northwest Kansas in Norton on the 21st of May. That is also on our website, and we passed the milestone in the last week or so. We've trained 1,000 people on grant writing, and we're always looking for more ways to increase the conversations around people's abilities to use other people's money and to improve in their community vitality. Any other sharing? Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Next month, our program is Brett Lands, the Marketing and Development Manager from the Technology Development Institute. You may know them more familiarly with as the AMI, the Advanced Manufacturing Institute here at K-State. And so he's going to help us to know how TDI, the Technology Development Institute, can help you develop your prototype, and how and when can they help, and what you should do before you ask them for help. So to end our call today, I'm going to leave you with a thought from Bill Bradley, the author and former U.S. Senator and NBA player. Bill Bradley says, ambition is the path to success, and persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. So thanks, everybody, and thanks, Trish, for your generosity, both in investment and in your investment in time and helping others to make this a very fruitful entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.